This is iFIBER 1 News. Here are today's top stories.
Fierce debate over a gun control measure continues heading into the general election.
Operating the Homeless Warming Center is dependent on donations, making Thursday night sleep on the street a critical time for community support.
Robert McSeveny wasn't a Chelan County judge for very long, but he made a lot of friends along the way.
Thursday night, Moses Lake girls soccer team had a chance to clinch sole possession of the league crown if they could beat the Eastmont Wildcats.
From the iFIBER 1 newsroom, this is iFIBER 1 News. And it starts now.
Fierce debate over a gun control measure continues heading into the general election. 13th Legislative District candidates aren't as divided as some others on the issue, but they do feel passionate about the proposed law. Initiative 1639 implements restrictions on the purchases and ownership of firearms, including raising the minimum age to purchase a gun to 21. Places more restrictions on background checks, waiting periods, and storage requirements. Now, under the measure, a person who, let's say, left a firearm in a place where a prohibited person could potentially get access to the gun would be guilty of community endangerment, a Class C felony, if that person gained access to the gun. 13th Legislative District candidates weighed in on the measure following Greater Wenatchee Area Technology Alliance's STEM and Career Connected Forum at the Columbia Basin Technical Skills Center on Thursday.
I'm opposed, and I'm opposed for a lot of reasons. But if you read through the initiative, there's a lot of different aspects in it that doesn't work for me. I'm not sure that it's going to work under the single title rule in the state of Washington. But there's one piece in it that really troubles me: is we're giving the Department of Licensing the authority to walk into our homes and determine if we are capable of owning a semi-automatic firearm. And I have an issue with that.
Generally speaking, with ballot initiatives, I'm a little bit skeptical of them because they're not put through the legislature. So theoretically, when you put something through the legislature, the minority can kind of weigh in on it. And so you kind of get this kind of bipartisan crafting of whatever piece of legislation it is. Yeah. With a proposition, you don't get that. And so this one, I look at it and I'm kind of skeptical of it in terms of, is this constitutional? Is it the right thing that we need? I'm kind of of two minds on this one because I think that in the wake of mass shootings, in the wake of school shootings, Americans want something. Whether or not this is it, I don't know, but it's a good place to start. So we'll see.
My thoughts are that we need to reduce gun violence. That is a given, and that's the goal. I think that with that being said, there are pieces of this initiative that I struggle with. The one that comes to mind first is the age limit, the 18, having to be 21. So I do struggle with pieces of the initiative, but I absolutely agree that we have to keep guns out of the hands of dangerous people. And I know a lot of responsible gun owners who feel the same way. It's the responsible gun owner who should not be penalized, and yet we do have to have regulation with mental health and whatever else we might find that will work to keep guns out of the hands of dangerous people.
Hammond's opponent, Matt Manweller, was not present at Thursday's forum, but he did send a statement to iFIBER 1 News about the measure. Initiative 1639 is supported by the Alliance for Gun Responsibility and opposed by the Washington Council of Police and Sheriffs as well as the Washington State Patrol Troopers Association. I'm Sean Goggins for iFIBER 1 News. This segment is brought to you by...
Change doesn't have to be complicated. With a low-profile microwave hood combination that's ready to install right out of the box. It fits in the same space as your under-cabinet hood, so you can get your microwave off the countertop and make space for the routines worth keeping. The low-profile microwave hood combination from the #1 selling appliance brand in the USA.
Whirlpool Appliances, now available at More Furniture in Ephrata.
Operating the Homeless Warming Center is dependent on donations, making Thursday night sleep on the street a critical time for community support. Dozens of volunteers lined the sidewalk along North Stratford Road in Moses Lake throughout Thursday night, collecting donations to go to the warming center set to open December 1st at the former Ace Hardware Annex building on West Broadway Avenue. The fourth annual fundraiser is also designed to raise awareness of homelessness in Grant County, with a dozen community members spending the night in a cardboard box. The Homeless Task Force of Grant County has provided the warming center the past 3 years and is looking to extend the service by a month this winter, having the center open from December through March. Warming Center Director Sheila Chilson said the task force has learned over the years that they need a combination of staff and volunteers to provide services. This year, the task force plans to hire staff to operate the center and again rely on volunteers and churches to provide meals and supplies. It costs about $17,000 a month to operate the warming center, including rent, utilities, and staff costs. Prior to Thursday's Sleep on the Street, funds are still needed to cover expenses for January, February, and March. Donations are still being accepted through the Columbia Basin Foundation at columbiabasinfoundation.org. Click on the donate button and make sure to include Homeless Task Force when making a donation. This is Joe Utter for iFIBER 1 News.
This segment is brought to you by
Your taste buds bored? Well, then bring them to Jay's Teriyaki. Not only does Jay's have a variety of teriyaki dishes, they also offer mouth-watering salads and sides. Call Jay's 509-764-5155. Jay's Teriyaki, located at 123 East Broadway in Moses Lake, because it's all in the sauce.
Robert McSeveny wasn't a Chelan County judge for very long, but he made a lot of friends along the way. McSeveny left the Superior Court bench this week to return to his former job as a U.S. Immigration Court judge. He previously filled that role in San Diego. This time, the Wenatchee judge will stay closer to home and preside over immigration cases in Seattle.
I've been working in the Superior Court since February, and I've enjoyed it. I mean, number one, the fellow judges were excellent to work with. Second of all, the bar, the lawyers that appear in court are very professional. The clerk's office, everybody's great, and that's made it really good for me.
McSeveny was appointed to Chelan County Superior Court in January by Governor Jay Inslee. On October 4th, he announced he would resign to take the immigration judge position after just 10 months on the county bench. Attorneys, court staff, fellow judges, and other well-wishers came out Thursday to a farewell party in the Chelan County Law and Justice Center. McSeveny was in the midst of a campaign to keep the judgeship in the November 6th election against a challenge from attorney Travis Brandt. When he resigned, he also withdrew from the race, but his name remains on the ballot. If McSeveny should somehow get the most votes, Governor Inslee will be called on to fill the seat by appointment yet again. Whoever follows him, Judge McSeveny has some advice.
I think anybody taking this job should be able to figure out how can we improve the court, greater access to justice, and provide better services, or can we improve on the services, those kinds of things.
Jefferson Robbins, iFIBER 1 News.
Thursday night, Moses Lake girls soccer team had a chance to clinch sole possession of the league crown if they could beat the Eastmont Wildcats. The Moses Lake Chiefs dropped their match at Eastmont earlier in the season 3-2. The Chiefs got the scoring started right around the midpoint in the first half with a goal from the Denali Knowles on a corner kick, followed shortly by a crazy goal from Morgan Scone that looked more like a pass than a shot. The back-to-back goals gave the Chiefs the lead going into halftime 2-0. The Wildcats came out in the second half and got several solid shots on goals, but failed to get one to land. With about 3 minutes on the clock, Scone assisted fellow senior Madison Krog for a third goal of the game. Moses Lake won 3-0, with all 3 goals coming from seniors. The last time the Chiefs were outright league champs was in 2013. In 2014, they tied with West Valley Yakima, but both of those years were before any current members of the team were playing. This win meant a lot for the seniors.
Well, all 3 years we've been really close to winning, and this year just means the most. It's just a team effort, and if you just keep putting the momentum, then it all works.
This is, I can't even describe the feeling. We worked so hard all season for this moment. We've come together as a team and played as a whole, and it's just an amazing feeling.
That's awesome. Eastmont plummets all the way to 4th in the conference with the loss, and will play Davis tomorrow on Saturday in the first round of districts. Winner of that game will advance to play the Chiefs, who get the first round of districts off. That game will be on Tuesday, with the time still yet to be determined. I'm Adam Chikoski for iFIBER 1 Sports.
This is iFIBER One News. For more information on these stories and other news, visit us online at ifiber1.com or check us out on Facebook.